What's up, and welcome back to the Asymmetrical Athlete podcast and YouTube channel. Today, let's talk about something that kind of controversial, kind of not. Let's talk about steroids and TRT, or testosterone replacement therapy. So me personally, I have done both. I've done steroids and TRT. I'm currently on TRT. I've been on it since 2017, so about 5 years now. Going way back in the day, the original reason I even started going to the gym in the first place was back in 2004, my first deployment to Iraq. I happened to be on an outer cordon when we were hitting a house, and this dude popped up in front of me. He had no weapon on him, no threat per se, but he was huge. I'm 6'2" at the time. We were very malnutritioned and whatever, but I was about 180. Very, very skinny little dude. And he pops up in front of me, and I'm yelling at him to get down, get down. This guy's like probably 6'4", 6'5", and a good, Jesus, man, probably like 300 pounds. Just a huge Iraqi dude. I'm yelling at him to get down. I'm yelling at him in English and Arabic. He's not listening to me. So I am conditioned in my brain from being in the Army for a long time that, hey, man, running push-ups and sit-ups, that's the way of life. I mean, that's just the way it is. The Army trained me that way. I'm good to go, right? Well, I learned that night that I was not good to go. After yelling at this dude, see, again, he didn't have a weapon, so I can't just, shoot him. But he was starting to walk closer to me, and he was going to interfere with the hit that we were doing. So I did what I thought was a good idea. I kicked this dude in the dick as hard as I possibly could. All he did was grunt at me and then stare at me like he's going to rip my head off. So I was like, oh shit. So the only thing I could do, again, this is back in 2004, we used to carry those big ass like 4-cell mag lights, you know what I'm saying? The ones that are really long, take 4D batteries. I pulled that thing out and I beat that dude in the head until he succumbed. And that's all I could do, right? Luckily for me, about that time, I called it out on the radio and whatnot, so I had some people come help me. We zip stripped him up, took him out of there. But that left an impression on me that told me, like, listen, I'm not an asset right now. I'm more of a liability. That dude, if we were to go hand on hand, he would have killed me. I mean, he was just so much bigger than me, so much more powerful than me. And at that point in time, like I said, I was 180 pounds. Yeah, granted, I can 6-minute mile all day long. I could max my push-ups and max my sit-ups, but in real life, none of that shit mattered. So I told myself that day that I'm never going to be in that situation again. I'm never going to let myself be a quote unquote weakling, right? At that point in time, we didn't really have much of a gym because we were, again, this is like with the initial invasion, we were bouncing around quite a bit. So I couldn't really do much then. Me and my buddy had a little, we got access to a couple little things, started doing some stuff, and we got back and immediately started going to the gym. We both got memberships to like 24-hour fitness. And I did what every person, I think almost every person does right in the beginning. I did bodybuilding, essentially, right? Of course, you always want to be stronger, right? Everybody wants to be stronger. But I was doing a bodybuilding split. Back and bis, chest and tris, legs. Like, I was doing the typical bodybuilder stuff. And I remember, like, my first month in, we finally got a group of, like, 5 dudes, all infantry guys, all to go to the gym at the same time. And I remember my buddy Eric Lee, he was doing, he was a little Asian dude, but he's like a jacked little Asian dude. And he was doing dumbbell presses with 100-pound dumbbells. And it was my turn to go, and he hands me these. I'm like, dude, I can't do these. And he just kind of laughs at me. He's like, you'll be able to, don't worry about it. And I was doing, 60s or whatever it was, right? And but we would do 3 to 5 sets of 10 to 15 reps and blah blah blah, and it was a total bodybuilding split, and that worked great for a while. Deployed again in late 05 into 06, stayed there the whole year for 06. And that year we had access to a gym. The one thing I didn't do hardly any like squats because we were patrolling so often and with so much kit on that the days that I did do squats or legs, if you will, my legs would kill me and I could barely walk. I mean, that DOM set in, the delayed onset muscle soreness, that it set in, and man, it was very, very hindering. So I was like, I'm not doing legs anymore. I'm not going to take myself out of the fight when we actually need to fight if I can't move my damn legs. So I nixed it. So I did tons of upper body. I did a lot of deadlifts, but the deadlifts didn't affect my walking ability, if you will. But what we had access to there was we had interpreters that would go out on the town, and in Iraq, they sold steroids right across the counter in the pharmacies. Obviously, as an American, we are not supposed to or not allowed to do that. However, our interpreter was. So our interpreter would go and he would buy us steroids. And I did one cycle of steroids in Iraq in 2006. One cycle being about 3 months long. We had the bottles that you have to snap off the top and break them. And I mean, I cut the shit out of myself tons of times. Like it was just a horrible experience. I did not get the results that I thought I could get, because back in 2006, the internet was obviously there, but it wasn't nearly as prevalent as it is today. I mean, there wasn't all that stuff out there that you have today. So I totally expected, dude, I'm going to do this 3-month cycle of steroids. I'm going to be shredded. I'm going to be huge. I'm going to be ripped, blah, blah, blah. Didn't work out that way. I think by the end of that deployment, I was benching like 365. I could only front squat like 225. I had a bunch of like really good accessory lift numbers, if that is even a thing. But my main thing was bench, right? I think I deadlifted like 455 with horrible form. That's probably what initially fucked up my back. But other than that, I mean, I did not see what I wanted to see. So we got back in 2006, and I immediately PCS to Oklahoma. And when I got there, I started kind of researching all kinds of stuff, and I got hooked on powerlifting. And I got hooked on this dude named Joe DeFranco and Zach Evanesh and a whole bunch, Elliot Halse back in the day, Jim Wendler, like a whole bunch of these guys that were not only powerlifters, but they were athletic trainers. And I remember watching all these old videos of all these kids, like essentially kids in high school at Joe DeFranco's place, high school and college kids that were, trap bar deadlifting 600-700 pounds. They were flipping 800-pound tires. They were dragging sleds and pushing prowlers and doing all this stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, that is the way to go. And it was just like an epiphany. So I had a job that I was lucky enough that I could do PT on my own. So I would go into the gym. I had a gym a block away from me. Go into the gym first thing in the morning before I went to work. I would throw a 50 to 60 pound ruck on, and I would do 30 minutes of really, really steep incline rucking until, I couldn't breathe and I had sweat going everywhere. And I did that for like 30 minutes. And then after that, I would do sprints. And for like a total of another like 15, 20 minutes. I can't remember exactly how many I did, but it was sprints on the treadmill with the ruck on, usually at an incline. And that was my kind of cardio PT, if you will. Other things I used to do is I used to do 100-yard sled sprints with plates on the sled. I used to carry a 100-pound sandbag on my shoulder and do like quarter-mile runs. Stuff like that, but they're all weighted carries, essentially. At that point, those 2 years, I was incline pressing 315. I was doing a military press with like no leg drive or nothing. Just over 200 pounds. I was deadlifting right around 500 pounds, and my squat still sucked. I think my squat was like 315 or something disgusting like that. So I was doing good, and I was pretty strong. I was still running about a 7-minute mile because I had gained a lot of weight. I weighed about 210, 215, something like that. So I gained a lot of weight, and I was a lot stronger. My running was still decent, for a 200 plus pound guy. And I was happy. I mean, I wasn't shredded by any real means, but I had, I was okay. I was pretty happy with how I looked. So fast forward that into I got out of the Army and I concentrated purely on powerlifting. I gained a lot of fat, not too much muscle, but started squatting more, started doing more like plyometrics, things like that. But I didn't really increase any of my cardio stuff. Then all of a sudden it was time to go into contracting, and I started basically CrossFit when I got into the contracting world in Afghanistan. We started doing CrossFit. Got kind of hooked on CrossFit, talked to a couple of buddies who still own affiliates. And it was fun. It was really fun for about a year or so. And then I just kind of got burnt out on it. After contracting about 2017, I found myself being really lethargic and tired and not wanting to go to the gym and this, that, and the other. And they say that, you have a guy when you do nothing but really, how do they put it? When you do nothing but spike your adrenaline all the time, go into combat all the time, doing this, doing that, and then you come off of that, you crash, and you crash really hard. And I think that's what happened to me. I was taking like 2 naps a day and still going to bed. It was horrible. Sex drive was kind of there, but it wasn't really there. And I was just really tired and lethargic. So I started talking to a bunch of people, and they said, hey, you might want to go have your testosterone levels checked. I said, all right. Called the VA up, and on one of my appointments, I had mentioned all this stuff. And I said, I want to get my testosterone checked. So the VA, the way the VA does shit is they take you and they don't just test your testosterone. They check every single thing that could possibly be wrong with you. And at the very end, 6 months later, they're like, okay, you are allowed to go see an endocrinologist. At the time, one of the only endocrinologists around was in Denver. So I went up there, I saw her, and I've been with her since 2017. My levels, my test levels, I believe were like right around 200, right around there in 2017 when I went. And there's a huge difference between going to an actual endocrinologist as opposed to one of those free testosterone, free TRT places, right? Where you just go there, you pay them some money, and they essentially give you as much testosterone as you can handle, right? And that's kind of what I want to cover, the pros and cons and what's going on with TRT. So what you're not going to get if you go to an actual endocrinologist, you are not going to come out of there in a month and have 6-pack abs if you're 50 years old. That's not going to happen, all right? Now, there are probably endocrinologists out there that will do that just because they want money or you're famous or whatever, right? My endocrinologists, they want to keep me more at an even keel, because what a lot of people don't understand is if you increase testosterone in your body, because your body's not naturally producing it, you increase that, you're also going to increase a bunch of other things like estrogen, right? I've been on it for 5 years, and just now I'm starting to take estrogen blockers because over the years my body's not producing, but I'm shooting my testosterone in my body. My estrogen has been creeping up all through these years, and now it's to the point where I need to take estrogen blockers. Another thing that's happened is because I'm a bigger dude and I live at altitude, my red blood cell count is really high, right? So I have to donate blood every other month, which is good for really everybody, because I need to donate. It's going to help me, and then it's going to go to somebody and help them if they need a blood transfusion and all that stuff. So I don't mind it at all. However, it is something out there that is a con. If you don't like giving blood, if you're scared of needles, whatever, it is a con, because if you skip a few months and you don't donate blood and your red blood cell count gets higher, you could possibly have a heart attack and die. I don't want to do that. That would suck. So I have a rigid schedule of when I give blood. and it's fine. Estrogen blockers, the other thing about the VA is they do not do estrogen blockers. I have to buy that on my own, because the VA says, well, we're not going to give you estrogen blockers. We're just going to take testosterone away from you. Well, after talking to my blood doctor and my endocrinologist and my PA and all that other stuff, you don't want to take a guy who's been on testosterone for X amount of years and just completely take him off of it. That's not going to be good. You're going to go straight down a very slippery slope into depression, and that's when a lot of people kill themselves. It's not a good thing to do. I obviously don't want to kill myself, so therefore I'm not doing that. I'm not going that route. Right now my levels are very stable. Everything that I've been doing has been progressing, but I don't have six-pack abs. I'm not that guy like Dana White, the owner of the UFC. I'm not him, to where I'm just injecting myself with, whatever, 3,000 milligrams a week. Not doing it. I take half a cc a week, which is, I believe, 100 milligrams. I want to say that. I think they're 200 vials. And I take half a vial a week, and that's it. It's not a huge amount whatsoever, but it's enough to keep me off the couch. I go and I do stuff. I'm energetic. My sex drive is there. Let me tell you about sex drive. Is when you first start taking it, you're like a 17-year-old kid. And I'm not kidding at all. The wind blows and you're going to get a hard on. You wake up every morning with a hard on. You go to bed every night with a hard on. Like, your sex drive just like goes through the roof. And that's kind of good and bad, right? The bad part about it is if you have a partner that isn't, that high of a sex drive person, then you have those issues. If you have a partner that's, very insecure of themselves, and they're wondering why you want to have sex 5 times a day, then, they're going to be, insecure, and they're going to be asking you a lot of questions, and it can lead to arguments and whatnot. But the good things, like I said, man, I'm not tired. I'm not lethargic. I want to do stuff. I don't take naps. If I do, man, it's a rarity if I take a nap. Usually it's because I didn't get to bed till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to wake up early, and I'm just completely done. Take a little bit of a nap, and I'm good to go. I enjoy going out and about. Sex drive is not, after about a year or two, roughly, your sex drive kind of evens out. It evens out. It's not, you're not wanting to have sex 5-6 times a day anymore. Unless you go to one of those free clinics that just gives you as much testosterone as you want. But those clinics are not that great of an idea. Now, if you are a bodybuilder or an actor and you need to get cut, get shredded, do this, do that, and the other, then by all means, you got to do what you got to do. I'm not here to tell anybody what they should or should not do. I'm just here to give you what I've seen over the last 5 years of taking testosterone. And it is pure testosterone that you get. It's not like Winstrol or D-Ball or anything like that. It's just pure testosterone. So when you go to a TRT place and you have an endocrinologist, they're going to ask you a bunch of questions. They're going to give you a bunch of screening stuff. The best thing about it is I go and see her every 3 to 6 months. She checks all my blood levels. She checks everything out just like a normal doctor. She sees everything that's wrong with me before anybody else does. My red blood cell count was high. My blood sugar started getting high. She saw all that beforehand, and she was the one that said, hey, get this checked out. And not only that, the app or whatever that I can use, I can send her a message and she'll get back to me usually that day, which is not something you get with the VA. If anybody out there knows the VA, that place is fucking horrible. And if you want government-run healthcare, you're a fucking idiot. I'm just gonna say it right now. But my endocrinologist, man, she is awesome, and I can't speak enough great things about her. She has helped me a lot, and she was also, when they wanted to take me off of testosterone because my red blood cell count had creeped high, she was the one that called the VA and argued on my behalf to keep me on it, because she's seen a lot of guys get off it and straight up go into depression too. Women, I know there's stuff out there for women for their hormones. I'm not super intelligent on it, so I don't want to speak on it. I just know it's out there, and I know that for women, it does similar things. Their sex drive, their energy, all that stuff. I don't know how it works with like their body composition or anything like that, but if you are a female and you want to try it, I would definitely call up an endocrinologist and talk to them about it. So again, with the difference between steroids and TRT, the steroids that I took back in Iraq, I'm not sure exactly what they even were. It said steroid on there, and I mean, I don't know. It's probably D-ball or something like that. I have no idea. It might have been pure testosterone. I really honestly don't know. I just know that I did not see the miracle results that you see in the fucking magazines. And I know that when I went on TRT, I obviously had a thought like, oh mom, this is probably gonna make me shredded because Joe Rogan said so. It's not what happened. Again, I could probably go to one of those free testosterone places, or not free, but the places that you can just go that are advertised everywhere, that you pay them X amount of money and they just fork over a whole bunch of vials and a whole bunch of needles and boom, you're done. Now that's another thing is I give myself a shot every week. I don't have somebody else do it for me. I don't do the gel. I don't do pills, nothing like that. I haven't heard very many good things about the gel. I've heard not very many good things about pills either. So I give myself an injection every week. In my butt cheek by myself, no big deal. I'm not scared of needles or anything, but if you are scared of needles, then that's something you might want to think about. I don't like the gel because you put it on and then your shirt can wipe it off, like your bed can wipe it off, somebody else could touch it, your kids, your dog, whatever. So I wasn't keen on any of that stuff. The guys that I know that have tried the gel, it's about 50-50. Some guys like it and some guys don't. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do the needle. It's no big deal to me. The VA pays for everything. I don't pay a dime out of my pocket except for the anti-estrogen pills. It's $30 for a month supply. I take one pill a week. I don't even know what the hell it's called, but I take one pill a week when I take my shot every Sunday. And that's about it, man. If you guys have any questions about any of the TRT stuff, the difference between an endocrinologist and an actual doctor, as opposed to those places that you just go that you see advertised, I know a lot of guys that are like me that are in their mid-40s that are feeling lethargic, that they want to feel better, they want to do better things, and TRT is not it's not what you think it is. It's not something that's going to get you jacked. You're not going to look like Ronnie Coleman in a month. You're not going to go to work and everybody's like, oh my god, like that doesn't happen. You still, if you want to get shredded, you still have to go on a diet, you still got to do your cardio, all that good stuff. Everybody that I know that has been on TRT, that went through an actual doctor, some guys even say it bloats them out a little bit. So, you have to deal with a little bloat. And like you can see dudes, if you see, like, let's look at CrossFitters, for example. The top level CrossFitters, you see all their stomachs are pretty flat. Yeah, they got six packs and stuff, but they're mostly flat, right? Then you see the guys with the little bulge, the little ab bulge, the bloat. Those dudes are the dudes that are on steroids. I mean, you can see it from a mile away. There's a whole bunch of little tell signs that you can see if a dude's actually on steroids or just on like TRT. TRT levels, they're not going to be, mine are at, I want to say 700 roughly. Normal range is anywhere between 400 and like 1200. All depends on your age, your lifestyle, all that stuff. And my doctor was like, we're going to go for about a 700. Obviously, I would like to be like 1500, so I could get huge and shredded, but she doesn't want me to be that way. And I'm pretty happy the way I am right now. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I don't care really how much I lift. I mean, I'm already kind of like maxed that part of my life. I just want to be healthy and healthy as I can be and not be broken. I don't want to be lethargic and sleeping on the couch or nothing like that. I don't want to do that. I want to be a normal person that enjoys doing things. So, if you have any questions, any comments, go ahead and drop them below. Don't think that TRT is this huge negative thing that you have to avoid just because you heard something out there. It's not a bad thing. Testosterone is naturally produced in your body. When you get older, it naturally goes down. You can boost those numbers up, just like if you were to work out, right? If you don't work out for a long time, your body's going to go into regression. Then you start working out and you're going to start looking better and feeling better. Testosterone just helps you do that. You can be a 50, 60-year-old man and start testosterone. You're not going to be ripped. You're just going to feel a lot better. You're going to feel younger. And that's the main point of this, right? And not only that, if you have a job that demands you be like physically fit, then why wouldn't you be on it? It's just going to help you. Obviously, if you're 20 years old, you're not going to get this. But if you're in your 40s, your late 30s, even 50, 60 years old, you probably want to look into this, especially if your insurance is going to pay for it. And you can go out there and you can feel better, look better, all that good stuff. Why not? Sorry about that. My camera battery died on me right before I was ending. So, again, don't be ashamed of this. Go out, ask your doctor, get the test done. And if you need it, all it's going to do is make you feel better. All right? So always ask yourself, are you an asset or liability?